Leaders, learners, love, and life. Under the deep green and dense canopy of Africa, gorilla society is not a chaotic picture as many people mistakenly believe. On the contrary, it is an extremely orderly, cohesive, and organized social system. At the center of each gorilla group, the position of ultimate power belongs to a special adult male, called the silverback, named after the shining silver fur stretching across his back like a prestigious cloak. The silverback is not merely the boss or the head, but also plays the role of a patriarchal figure for the group, leading and protecting the entire family with wisdom and subtlety. Contrary to the aggressive image often seen in films, the silverback does not use physical strength or fierce roaring to impose his power. Instead, this leader often employs skillful, peaceful tactics to maintain order and harmony. By subtly intimidating rivals with a calm demeanor and using prestige and presence as the foundation for control. Scientists have proven that the silverback is also a skilled referee within the group, frequently mediating internal conflicts by creating a safe atmosphere and making all members feel protected and cared for. Interestingly, this king not only knows how to roar powerfully when needed, but is also a master of composure, listens, and resolves situations with intelligence instead of just using muscle, like a wise leader in the animal world. The social structure of gorilla groups has surprising variability, usually ranging from around 5 to 30 individuals depending on food sources and habitat. The females and young in the group are not merely members, but also create a warm and close-knit extended family, where social relationships are built upon sharing and mutual care. Seemingly simple actions like playing, mutual grooming, or sharing food truly contribute to building a deeply social community, almost like a happy family in the heart of the old forest. A particularly interesting point is that female gorillas are not merely dedicated mothers, but also play an important role as psychologists, perceptive in recognizing the moods and behavior of other members of the group. Research conducted at Virunga National Park shows that this mutual care and support not only helps reduce stress and conflict, but also creates a foundation for harmony and maintains the long-term stability of the group, making life in the troop pass peacefully and staying away from unnecessary arguments. No one wants to risk arguing when outside is a green forest world full of dangers from wild animals, insects, or harsh weather. The gorilla youngsters in the group are like mischievous students who are also extremely diligent in learning life skills. They play not just for fun, but also as an important way of practicing to learn climbing, finding food, and handling unexpected situations in the natural environment. These lessons are taught not with books or blackboards, but through the experience and guidance of parents and older group members. Communication among members is very subtle through facial expressions. Gestures like chest beating, soft grunts, or meaningful glances, all creating a complex, nonverbal language that is highly effective in maintaining harmony and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. A notable study by Duke University discovered that gorillas are capable of conveying extremely specific messages through seemingly simple gestures, proving that their communication system has complexity and subtlety not inferior to many other primate species. When young males in the group grow up, they are obliged to leave the natal group to search for a new group or establish their own. This process always comes with brief contests aimed at asserting a social position, a performative strength assessment contest. Notably, these contests rarely last long or cause serious injury, because gorillas are very good at conserving energy, and health is valued more than temporary power. Ecologists describe this as a quick and efficient test of strength aimed at effectively determining the new leader, avoiding unnecessary losses to individuals and the entire group. It can be said that gorillas are very pragmatic, like top martial artists who only deliver the necessary move to decide victory or defeat, then immediately withdraw instead of prolonging the fun. Besides daily activities, gorillas also maintain a very thorough habit of personal hygiene and mutual grooming, almost like a natural green forest spa session, both helping remove parasites and enhancing bonding within the group. Seemingly simple actions like scratching backs and cleaning each other's fur not only have hygienic meaning, but are also a way to strengthen bonds, build trust, and create a sense of security within the troop. According to a study published in the journal Animal Behavior, mutual grooming also plays an important role in reducing tension and stress, while also helping maintain stable social relationships. When talking about territory, each gorilla group possesses a large private territory, which can be from 5 to 30 square kilometers, depending on the species and habitat. Gorilla groups usually avoid confrontation by moving along avoidance routes, or using their ability to recognize scents to adjust their direction, forming a complex scent map that helps protect territory and avoid unnecessary conflict. Gorillas' daily meal is a rich green feast consisting of leaves, fruits, stems, and sometimes even small insects. The ability to accurately remember where good food sources are helps them plan their movement intelligently, optimizing time spent searching for nourishment to ensure the whole group is always healthy and full of energy. Especially during seasons of food scarcity, gorillas also know how to adjust their diet and change to suitable types of food to adapt to the circumstances, showing flexibility and intelligence in survival. A World Wildlife Fund for Nature study recorded that gorillas use more than 100 different plant species in their diet and are capable of distinguishing plant types based on location as well as seasonality. Truly master natural culinary experts, aren't they? Lastly, it's important not to assume that all gorilla individuals are the same in terms of personality. Each one possesses unique traits, from gentle and shy to playful, curious, and sometimes very humorous. A few famous gorilla individuals, like Coco, the gorilla who knew how to communicate using sign language, have proven that this species can express very complex emotions and thoughts, opening new doors for understanding their intelligence and minds. These in-depth studies enrich the social picture of gorillas, making us appreciate and want to protect this wonderful primate species even more, which are not just large and strong creatures, but also very lovable, intelligent, and have emotional depth. From the position of the majestic silverback leader to the mischievous energetic children, from close emotional relationships to sophisticated movement tactics, the world of gorillas is truly a diverse society, both humorous and serious, and incredibly fascinating for us to explore. It is a wonderful community, consisting of large creatures full of love, wisdom, and subtlety in the heart of the vast African old forest, where life and bonding always exist in a miraculous natural symphony. Born, raised, loved, and survived. On moss-covered and red earth hillsides, where moisture seeps into every rotting tree trunk and insect, sound echoes into a never-ending symphony. A magical moment of nature silently takes place. A gorilla individual is born. No drums, no fireworks, just the steady breathing of the forest and the warmth from the mother's embrace. But it is here, amidst the roughness and rawness, that a life journey lasting decades begins. Beneath the dense layers of trees and the thin mist weaving through the dense mountain slopes of Central and East Africa, where the rare sunlight barely penetrates the canopy, a great story of life unfolds every day. A slow, persistent, yet deeply emotional story. The birth of a gorilla. With a reproductive cycle considered the slowest among the entire great ape family, each female is only capable of reproducing, on average, one offspring every 4 to 6 years. The gestation process lasts around 8.5 to 9 months, equivalent to the human gestation period, and requires a large amount of energy as well as optimal health conditions. When the infant is born, the mother's entire activity schedule immediately reshapes around nurturing that tiny being. In the first months, the infant hardly leaves the mother's embrace, is hugged close to her chest, or clings to her back like a living backpack. Mother's milk is the only source of nutrition in the first 2 to 3 years of life, and only around the 6th month do they start trying to nibble young leaves, a natural form of complementary feeding without blenders or silicone bottles. Just a few milk teeth and a curious mouth. In the special social system of the gorilla species, the leader, male, usually an adult silverback, does not directly raise the young, but his role cannot be underestimated. The silverback is like a full-time personal bodyguard, always vigilant towards threats from predators like leopards, large snakes, or even humans. When necessary, he will use his entire massive body and tree-shaking roar to protect the troop, a behavior that is not only symbolic but also a truly effective measure to keep peace for the old forest nursery. Although he does not participate in breastfeeding or teaching climbing, the silverback's presence provides a feeling of absolute security. allowing the mother gorilla and infant to develop in a relatively stable environment, at least if there are no uninvited guests like mischievous colobus monkeys running by. The phenomenon of twin births in the gorilla species is extremely rare, with an estimated rate of below 2% in natural populations. This is largely due to the species' physiological limitations. A mother gorilla only has 2 arms, and simultaneously caring for 2 newborn infants, both of whom need to cling tightly and be moved frequently, becomes a challenge beyond the capacity of any single mother. In most cases of twin births, only one offspring survives, while the other often does not receive enough necessary care to survive. However, in some special cases, especially with support from other troop members, usually sisters or females who haven't given birth, the mother can raise both, creating a community-style childcare model not much different from human extended family systems in traditional societies. The early development stage in gorillas is a continuous learning process, in which infants primarily acquire life skills through behavioral mimicry from the mother and other troop members. The first months of life are marked by almost absolute clinging. Initially clinging to the chest, then gradually shifting to climbing onto the mother's back when she moves. From around the 6th month onwards, infants start participating in controlled exploratory activities, nibbling leaves, climbing onto low branches, grabbing friends' tails, as a way to test the world. By around 1-year-old, they start playing more actively, and in an organized manner. Games like wrestling, chasing, or pretending to fight are not simply for entertainment, but also help develop motor skills, nerve reflexes, social skills, and conflict resolution ability, extremely important factors for a social species living in troops. The bond between a mother gorilla and her infant does not stop at physical care. Many studies show that they have deep emotional reactions to loss. One of the most moving cases recorded is of a mother gorilla who continued to hold the body of her infant for many consecutive days, refusing to let go even though the infant's body was lifeless. In another case, when the mother died suddenly due to illness, the infant was adopted and raised by an older female in the troop, a behavior showing that social bonds in this species are not just based on biological benefits, but also have a clear emotional nature. Many primatologists have suggested that gorillas are capable of feeling grief and even show behaviors similar to mourning. For example, the entire troop becoming silent and staying away from the dead animal's body for a few days. When infants start moving freely, they also quickly develop independent social lives, especially within the scope of peer group friends. Spontaneous playgroups are formed usually 3 to 5 young individuals, where they explore together, cause mischief, and correct mistakes. Here, social relationships are tested, personal boundaries are established, and the first rules of conduct are learned through pushes, affectionate slaps, and short hugs. These experiences are seen as social practice rooms, where each little gorilla learns how to interact, negotiate, yield, and forgive, a kind of rainforest-style kindergarten with a curriculum entirely based on practical experience. Physiologically, female gorillas reach reproductive age at around 10 to 12 years old, while males are usually slower, truly maturing both physically and behaviorally from 12 to 15 years old. When mature, males will usually leave the natal troop to start an independent journey, a behavior called dispersal, carrying clear biological significance aimed at avoiding inbreeding. This stage is also when they join bachelor groups, participate in short contests to assert dominance, or gradually build their troop if they can attract a few young females. Becoming a silverback is not simply due to age, but is a whole process of developing leadership, social skills, and the ability to take responsibility. A true silverback must know how to intervene when the troop has conflicts, lead when moving, and above all, protect the troop at all costs. Gorillas' slow reproductive frequency, only 3 to 6 offspring throughout their reproductive lifespan, makes them particularly vulnerable to threats like habitat loss, illegal hunting, and diseases from humans. Precisely because of this, each surviving infant individual is not merely a tiny being in the forest, but also a symbol for a species fighting every day to continue to exist. If the old forest organized a Mother of the Year awards ceremony, there is no doubt that the mother gorilla, with a slow gait, profound eyes, and a stooped back because the infant clings on and won't let go, would be a top candidate. Not because she is perfect, but because she is the embodiment of resilience, love, and dedication, the greatest qualities of a mother, regardless of species. Stronger than us, still vulnerable. In the wild world, which is unforgiving to any creature, the health of the gorilla species, one of the primate species closest to humans genetically, reflects a fragile balance between evolutionary adaptation and survival pressure. Despite possessing an immune system thought to be strong, helping them survive through millions of years of evolution, gorillas are still not immune to the increasing risk of diseases, especially from a surprising but very familiar source: humans themselves. Recent studies show that gorillas are highly susceptible to viruses and bacteria originating from Homo sapiens, including common respiratory illnesses like the flu, pneumonia, and the common cold, which are merely minor nuisances for us, but can cause high mortality rates in wild gorilla groups. Some populations have been wiped out just because of the careless presence of infected tourist groups or research staff not applying proper disease prevention measures. The irony is that this primate species with the physique of weightlifters can be taken down by an uncovered sneeze. Beyond challenges from novel viruses, age is also a traditional opponent that any gorilla individual must face, especially as they enter the aging stage. Similar to humans, older gorilla individuals often suffer from arthritis, a condition causing chronic pain in their shoulder, elbow, and knee joints, seriously affecting their mobility. In a world where food doesn't come from supermarkets and there are no musculoskeletal specialists, a limping old gorilla is forced to choose a slower way of life, walk less, eat closer by, and rely on the support of the troop to survive. It's not rare that young individuals will bring food to frail elderly individuals, showing admirable social nature and empathy in the animal kingdom. If a gorilla knows that it is gradually losing agility, they won't complain like humans, but will simply climb less and sit more. While they can avoid external enemies, inside the gorilla's digestive system is a persistent battle with countless tiny organisms, intestinal parasites. With a diet consisting mainly of tough leaves and unprocessed fresh fruits, plus drinking water from forest streams, where microorganisms reproduce freely without licenses, gorillas easily become an ideal habitat for roundworms, amoebas, and parasitic flagellates. Nevertheless, their immune system has been adjusted over millions of years to coexist with these guests without causing too many serious consequences. Sometimes, seeing a gorilla suddenly frown or lie down and rest for too long is not necessarily because of fatigue, but simply because their stomach is protesting. However, at the level of natural biological balance, the presence of parasites plays a role in training the immune system, something some scientists call the hygiene hypothesis. Beyond tangible threats, gorillas also have to contend with psychological pressure as their habitat shrinks, and the safe boundary between the forest and human settlements becomes thinner by the day. Many studies have recorded an increase in cortisol levels, the stress hormone, in the fecal samples of gorillas living near deforested areas or areas with hunting activities. Prolonged stress reduces immune capacity and leads to behavioral changes like irregular eating, reduced reproductive drive, and an increased rate of conflict within the troop. These unusual behaviors are sometimes misinterpreted by humans as aggression or being difficult to control, while they are just sending distress signals using instinctive language. In some conservation areas, the measure of completely prohibiting tourist access has shown positive results. The gorilla troop is more stable, reproduces more, and signs of anxiety are significantly reduced, proof of the effectiveness of the tranquility cure. However, no threat is more haunting than the Ebola virus, which once took away thousands of gorilla individuals in just a few years. Disease outbreaks in the tropical forests of Central Africa not only caused a serious decline in gorilla numbers, but also caused a wave of concern in the international scientific community. Studies indicate that Ebola can spread between gorilla individuals at a dizzying speed, sometimes even before clear symptoms appear. Finding ways to vaccinate or control the spread of a species living scattered in the dense forest becomes a major challenge, almost a race between modern medicine and a hiding expert virus. However, experimental vaccination campaigns in some conservation areas are opening up new hope, not just saving gorilla individuals, but also contributing to controlling human disease outbreaks, highlighting the role of One Health, where human, animal, and environmental health are closely intertwined like a three-legged stool. Amidst countless changes, one aspect holds a core role in maintaining health: self-medication. Field observations have found many individuals using some plant species with antibacterial properties like Vernonia amygdalina, a plant species with a bitter taste that gorillas only eat when showing signs of parasitic infection or skin inflammation. This behavior does not appear in young individuals, but is usually learned through observation, something showing that there is transmission of medicinal knowledge within the gorilla community, even without signs advertising third-generation traditional ethnic medicine. Furthermore, in some populations, people have even recorded gorillas using mud or tree sap to apply to open wounds, a non-conventional form of external antibiotic, but with surprising effectiveness. One of the less discussed yet extremely essential issues is dental health. Gorillas, with a diet leaning towards leaves, bark, and young stems, materials that are not soft at all, often suffer from tooth wear, gum inflammation, and tooth decay. While some older individuals are left with just a few pillar teeth for chewing, young individuals are sometimes spotted using small branches to pick their teeth. Although not meeting dental standards, this behavior shows a high degree of adaptation to daily life inconveniences. Of course, gorillas don't need mint-flavored toothpaste, but their use of dental hygiene tools is one of many pieces of evidence, reinforcing the argument that they are not just strong, but also intelligent and quite pragmatic. However intelligent they may be, gorillas cannot decode the impact of environmental pollution caused by humans. Toxins accumulated in soil, water, and plants, like heavy metals, pesticides, and microplastics, are silently entering the gorilla food chain. A 2021 study showed that gorilla fecal samples from a forest area near a cobalt mine in Congo contained lead and cadmium levels exceeding safety limits many times over. These are toxins that can affect the nervous and endocrine systems, and especially reproductive capacity. In a world where gorillas have no choice but to eat what nature provides, pollution becomes a form of indirect poisoning that humans urgently need to control. Finally, all the above factors are connected by a basic foundation: nutrition. With a natural diet rich in fiber, minerals, and vitamins, gorillas have inadvertently applied a biological detox regimen that many modern people pay to experience in resorts. Fig leaves, ripe figs, young bamboo shoots, and many other native plant species are an abundant source of nutrients, helping them maintain a balanced body, a healthy digestive system, and a shiny coat, making many other male gorillas jealous. Without needing animal protein, they can still build considerable muscle mass, something that should perhaps be reconsidered by bodybuilders before increasing the amount of whey protein in their trainees' diets. Overall, the health of the gorilla species is a complex symphony of genetics, behavior, environment, and interaction with humans. Each small factor can become a leverage point or a weakness, determining the survival ability of this rare primate species. In conservation efforts, understanding those connections not only helps us build effective strategies, but also reflects how humans perceive their role in the ecosystem, not as dominators, but as responsible protectors of creatures that were present on Earth long before humans emerged from the forest.